Lahaina, Hawaii. Population 2,500. It's a tiny town far away from the NBA limelight, but a personal paradise for Don Nelson.
Well, life after the NBA is good. I want to tell you, it's very good. There's a lot of stress to being a coach and a general manager in the NBA, and there's no stress on Maui. Hey, are you back?
Back again.
Oh man, good to see you.
Nice welcome, Maui.
Oh yeah, good to see you, Don.
You got somebody filming you here? What's going on?
They're doing the thing for the Warriors.
Oh, nice.
So you're on TV right now. So.
Oh, really? Wow. So, shall I get out of the way?
No. We're going to go play golf right now. So.
Okay. I'll have a chat.
Yeah. We'll sit on the porch like we used to.
Nelson's career is one that spanned over 50 years. First as a player, then as a coach. But his story begins on his grandfather's farm.
Well, I was raised on a farm in Illinois, and we were hog farmers, and so I did my early training doing chores and not playing basketball. And then we lost our farm and moved to the city, and when I was in the 7th grade, that's really when I started playing basketball.
Nelson started on the basketball court in high school and went on to play for the University of Iowa as a 2-time All-American. He had the physical talent, but always struggled in tryouts.
The moment that I knew I would make basketball as my career never happened because I had to fight every year to make the team. It was nothing easy. I wasn't a great player. I was, kind of an average player that needed to fit in and find a niche with a really great team, which I did with the Boston Celtics.
I was a rookie in 1966, and he was a veteran. He just kind of showed me the ropes, and he'd call me rookie and all that kind of stuff. The Celtics had a tradition of having a 6th man. It was a very important position because the 6th man would come in and supposed to change the game. And so Don could do that because he could hit jump shots. His art was defense, rebounding, and he knew what he had to do to play because he wasn't as talented, and he was consistent night in and night out. He didn't try to do too much. He had his role. I learned from him, you've got to play within yourself. You've got to know who you are and your strengths and weaknesses. He didn't try to do things that he couldn't do.
My one-handed free throw style came by not being a great free throw shooter in college and early in my pro career, and studied a guy by the name of Bob Pettit, who played for the St. Louis Hawks. And he used the one hand, and so I tried it, and it made sense to me. And I worked on it, and I didn't get quite as good as he did, but I got pretty good at it.
It didn't look like a basketball shot. It looked like a pose. The hand would go up, and it was kind of weird, I thought. But again, you see it happening, and you watch it, and you go, well, if it works for him, you do it. And guys shoot free throws all kinds of different ways. To me, the most important thing that you do is you make the free throw.
In Game 7 of the 1969 Finals, Nelson would clinch yet another Boston crown with one of the most memorable shots in championship history.
Erickson taps the ball to Nelson, whose shot bounces straight up and then straight through. And the Celtics, they have done it again.
Well, I guess I'm the luckiest guy in the world, right? An average kind of a player that got on a great team and found a niche and, a way to contribute and to be part of all those championships. It's probably the greatest thing that I'd ever done in my life, because it was my profession, and we were at the top of that profession, and we were there for a lot of years. So I don't know how you get any better than that. I've been chasing it ever since. I first wanted to be a referee, and then right in the middle, when I was trying to become a referee, I got a telephone call from Wayne Embry, who was the general manager of the Milwaukee Bucks, and said Larry Costello was looking for an assistant coach ex-player like me, would I be interested? And I said, yeah, I'd come in and let's talk about it. So I came in and they hired me as assistant coach.
In 1976, Nelson earned his first head coaching gig with the Milwaukee Bucks, a challenge that shaped the rest of his career.
When I started out, my teams weren't very good. So I had to think of things to stay in games. Instead of worrying about winning a game, I'd worry about winning a quarter. If we won one quarter, maybe we could win another one, and maybe we could be close at the end. And I had teams like that. They had to fight every minute of every game. I really never thought I was more innovative than anybody else, but I think you have to think of ways when you're a coach to help your team win, especially when they're not very good.
In 1988, the Golden State Warriors named Nelson head coach and vice president. He turned the Warriors into one of the NBA's most dynamic teams, bringing a high-scoring style that yielded wins and playoff appearances. It also solidified Nelly's reputation as one of the game's leading innovators.
When I got to the Bay Area, they hadn't had a lot of success there either, and their team was kind of down, and so we tried to create some excitement to start with so we could draw some fans and really get it going. And the Run TMC, we didn't have much of a big team, but we had a pretty good small team.
Run TMC, the high-scoring trio of Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, and Chris Mullin took the NBA by storm. Together, the three became a force within the league, led by Nelson's unorthodox style of basketball. Today, Mullin is the head coach of St. John's men's basketball, with his Run TMC teammate Mitch Richmond as his assistant. The two have followed in the footsteps of their mentor, Don Nelson.
Yeah, Nelly was innovative, creative, fun, very serious, very detailed. He had a lot of sides to him, but looking back, it was the most fun I had playing basketball. And for me, it was like a new lease on life. I was out there struggling a little bit, and along comes this guy, Mitch Richmond, number 5 pick, coming off the Olympics, and stepped on the court ready to be an NBA All-Star from day one. So a nice season that year, just kind of a turnaround season, and lo and behold, the next year we got to draft Tim Hardaway. I had never heard of him, from Texas, El Paso.
Chris Mullin and Tim Hardaway, these two powerful Warrior teammates, only disagree on one thing: McDonald's new Chris and Tim burger.
Tim and Chris burger.
Chris and Tim burger.
So we all had very different personalities, very different skill sets. We had a great supporting cast, and Nelly kind of put us in position where he just really let us display our skill sets, and it was a fun time.
Hardaway takes it, and Hardaway's going to go right to the bucket, kick it out for Richmond, a three-point goal. Oh, man! He drained it with 31.8.
Run TMC was my favorite pastime of me playing in the pros. It was just a fun unit, fun team to play with. When we wasn't practicing, we were somewhere in the gym shooting. We were talking about basketball. We were on the road talking about basketball, and we're back at it again. We never thought that we'd be at this position, and funny how time flies. And coaching with Chris Mullin is fun. We're here trying to teach the young kids some of the things that the great coaches that we had taught us. So, and Don Nelson was just, it was easy to learn from him. He made things simple as possible. You had to learn a lot of plays, but he tried to get the best out of his players, and I think that's the most important thing.
Don Nelson, twice Coach of the Year.
He's played 252 playoff games.
I think he had a vision that small ball will win championships, small ball will win games. The way he transpired the game in the 90s, a lot of people didn't understand, and he didn't get enough recognition, and he still doesn't get enough recognition today. A lot of people didn't know about small basketball, but now they know it, and the one that started was Don Nelson, everybody. It was Don Nelson, and he needs to get his justification for that.
For what they had around them and for how he used them, it was bigger than that they were good. It wasn't just that they won 50-plus games. But what they did was revolutionary. That's why it matters. What they did hadn't been done before. So we remember Run TMC because they pushed offense up a level. They pushed tempo up a level. They made basketball exciting. They expanded the bounds of what could be done on the court. But we remember Run TMC because they revolutionized basketball. And I don't think they could have done that without Don Nelson.
This segment is brought to you by PG&E, proud community partner of the Golden State Warriors.
So we're at the Tassajara Recreation Center in Oakland, working with the Warriors on a project to help our community. We're making some gifts for kids. We're working on fixing some bulletin boards, things to help make this a better place for the kids to participate in activities.
This is exciting to be out in the community because this is my neighborhood. I live in East Oakland and I live blocks from this center, and so the fact that PG&E, the company that I work for, has committed to giving back in the community where I live is just incredibly inspiring.
That's beautiful.
The Warriors and PG&E has brought an incredible number of volunteers to change a part of Oakland recreation centers and to give kids a sense of hope and pride.
It's very rewarding, just seeing the look on her face and a smile, you just talking to them. Me growing up, I've seen it, and inspire people and be able to help out kids as much as possible. There you go.
Nice, man, nice.
Following his illustrious coaching career, Don was inducted to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2012.
Towards the end of my career, as I mentioned, Chris Mullen gave me a call when my career was over there and asked if I'd come and coach the Golden State Warriors for him. He was looking for a coach. I got a chance to work with Chris, and then what an exciting time we had there when we beat the Dallas Mavericks in the playoffs. Just a great opportunity to coach some great young guys.
In 2006, the Warriors rehired Nelson as head coach. After 13 years without a playoff appearance, an unlikely cast of characters came together to do the unthinkable.
I think Nelly was the only one that could coach that team. I mean, we had a lot of characters on that team, guys with different personality, and he just fit right into it. I mean, we were a band of guys that were outcasts, and Don found the best way to get us all together and get the best out of us. It started off with when Barron first came over.
Barron from midcourt, backed it in!
He's an all-star, superstar. He came over and it really changed my game because it showed me how successful he was with the work ethic he had put in. We got Monte Ellis, I think that same year. He was a young guy.
Ellis with the perimeter.
That could play, kind of fell into the second round. Could have been a first-round pick. Then, the trade against Steven Jackson and Al Harrington. I think that was the big difference maker because those guys, they fit into that culture of Oakland, playing hard. And I think it made the perfect team.
The Warriors' chances of making the 2007 playoffs were slim to none. But after winning 16 of their last 21 games, the Warriors earned a first-round matchup with the best team in the NBA, the #1 seeded Dallas Mavericks.
It just meant hope, after years of missing the playoffs and years of being one of the worst franchises in the league, it meant hope, and it meant just, that you can believe again that this team can do great things, and this atmosphere could happen in this building.
There's no place like Oracle, ever, in basketball. It's the greatest place to coach or to play.
When I think of We Believe, I just think of like a sea of just yellow.
They stood up the whole game. I don't think anybody sat down.
I honestly believe that the games during that postseason against Dallas, that building was as loud as I've ever heard it. And it was really a movement at that time.
The city was dying for it at the time. The way we played gave the fans energy because we played with passion. We was diving on the floor. We were screaming at each other. We was dancing on the court. We made it fun and we made it exciting, and the city just supported us. And we had the loudest arena that year in the playoffs, and that goes to testament to our fans how happy they were and how glad they were to be back in the playoffs.
As soon as we got in the playoffs, now we said, we're going to beat Dallas.
And that's the first thing he said. He kind of helped build that Dallas team right before he came back to Golden State. We started putting guards and forwards on Dirk and really tried to get underneath him. And I think that's what kind of changed that Dallas series and allowed us to win. So for us to kind of have the blueprint and for Nelly to realize that we can affect Dirk by putting smaller players on him, I think was the key to the series.
So going into the playoffs, we were confident. We didn't care if they won 6 or 7 games. With having Don Nelson, he gave us all the tools we needed to win the game.
They are running him right down to the ground.
Jackson filling the lane, and there's the Warriors in the open floor. Al Harrington has Jason Terry on him.
It's going to do that.
Drops it to Pietrus. He hammers it down. Doubling Barron. Pietrus inside. He dumps it down and draws the foul.
The Golden State Warriors have pulled off the greatest upset in the history of the NBA playoffs.
The Golden State Warriors have pulled off the biggest playoff upset in NBA history as they dispatch the 67-win Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, oh yeah! It really was special because, you know, for so many years they hadn't made the playoffs there, and kind of a new coach, new theory, and to be able to have success as early as we did, make the playoffs just barely in the last day, and then, you know, beat the #1 team. In a 7-game series, I don't think it had ever been done before.
We believe in you, Coach. Yes, we do. Yep. That's for you, Coach. Yep.
Well, I only had 1 year with him, and I regret that because I really wanted to coach him longer.
Don Nelson shaped the franchise today by being an integral part of selecting Stephen Curry in the 2009 draft.
He was my first coach. He introduced me to the league. He saw a lot of me when I was coming out of college, and you know, the main reason I was here, his voice in the war room saying he wanted to draft me.
The Golden State Warriors select Stephen Curry from Davis.
He was a rookie, and I just wanted to really bring him along slowly. So after about 20 games or so, that's when Steph really started stepping up and becoming the player that he is today.
Defense on Rose.
He taught me a lot about the game. I had a lot of fun playing for him, and obviously to help him get the all-time wins as for a coach, pass that record during my rookie year was a lot of fun. It was in Minnesota. It was a fun atmosphere just because we knew what was at stake that night. And we got the job done. We got in the locker room. It's a really small locker room, so we're all on top of each other. And he walked in after his press conference, and yeah, we didn't have, champagne bottles or anything, so we used all we had in the refrigerator and just dumped a bunch of sodas and waters and stuff on it. And I still have the picture of everybody in the locker room with him holding the game ball, celebrating the accomplishment. I can say I was on the last Don Nelson team. We tried to make him proud.
Innovative, creative.
He had a vision.
He obviously thought outside the box.
That small ball will win championships.
Forget position. Don't look at position. Look at your best players and put them on the floor together.
Mismatch basketball. Not afraid to put any lineup out there.
He saw that way back. He saw the shooting is going to take over the entire league. You're not going to have just these post-ups guys. I was happy to come to work because he was teaching me every single day.
A lot of us had like career years and, playing under him.
He helped me tremendous because when he came here, that's when I became a starter.
He said, trust your instincts. Your first instinct to do something, trust it. Because most of the time, 98% of the time, you're going to be right.
My minutes started going up. He started putting me in positions to be successful, and I ended up winning Most Improved that year.
I'll tell you what, the people here are kind and generous and loving, and that's the way I want to spend my retirement. I've invested my fortune here, basically, and bought a lot of properties where people can enjoy renting and staying there for a week or two at a time, and then just having a good time and enjoy the beauty of the island.
some call it his second home. I think he thinks it's his first home. So got to go down there and spend some time in Maui with him. Played golf with him at his home course down there on the side of the mountain. And he's a great host. He has like this little man cave area with the craziest mural I've ever seen of all his family and friends that he invites down there. So Nelly world down there is pretty crazy.
Don Nelson, the man who led a team that made a first-round playoff win feel like a championship. The man who left a legacy on the NBA with his ingenuity and imagination.
When you have a trail of players who are great because you coached them, like that's a great legacy. Baron Davis, Steve Nash, Steph Curry, you start getting that on your resume, like that might be as good as I got this many wins.
You didn't get a chance to win your championship, but you have a legacy now to where you'll be the all-time winningest coach.
He was innovative. You see a lot of teams now that play the style of ball that he really brought into the forefront. He could take a team and make a team better than some of its parts.
It's a really historic figure in forward thinking and vision in basketball.
It's all been just great. It's been, it was a perfect time for me to retire, to come here, to build, to live, and to enjoy our life.